Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. This is Coach Chambers. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you've all had an amazing weekend. Also, I took myself on a little trip down to Valencia. Woke up on Friday morning and decided to book a hotel and just drive down there, which is only about 2 hours away from ours, and then spend the weekend obviously down there, which was amazing. And a true blessing of trading. That's something that you guys all got, to look forward to, being able to just wake up, have the time freedom, location freedom, and, fingers crossed, God willing, have that financial freedom as well. Now, as always, before we do get into the call, I am just going to quickly share my screen for 1 second. As always, guys, this content on the channel is only for educational and informational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, so anything shared on these videos should not be considered financial or investment or trading advice. So make sure that you guys do your own research. Make sure that you guys are obviously, in control of any financial decisions that you do make. But other than that, guys, this, like I said, is not a financial advisory video. Okay, let's get straight into the market. So this is your daily market outlook. It is Monday, the 24th of March. And yes, as always, we're going to dive deep into the markets, trying to figure out obviously what's going on. As always, I think we should be able to see my screen right now. And we're going to be covering obviously the major pairs today. Major pairs today, of course. So let's start with the US dollar, as we always do. So as you guys know, we've been in this daily demand and 4-hour demand area for a long time. We've been talking about it for ages, like saying that, we need to see either breakout of either side. If I just get rid of this noise right now, you can see that we had a little bit of movement over the past Thursday and Friday. So Thursday and Friday obviously broke above, which can indicate to us that now we could possibly go and refill in this imbalance. I've been feeling like a broken record, constantly going on and on and on about this area. So, I do apologize, but that's just how the markets were moving. So obviously that is what we got to analyze, is the market's in a demand area for a long time or supply area. I can't mention anything else or give any advice on educational advice on that. But as you guys can see, we did have a 4-hour break. So we had this 4-hour, move up, and we've had the 1-hour internal break. Now, first off, this demand area at the stream level of the 4-hour is what sticks out to me the most. As you guys will already know, what we talk about is, let's say we get a market break on the 4-hour, we know that 4-hour trend, inside that 4-hour trend, we have a 1-hour trend. And eventually what happens is the market will want to shift into a 4-hour supply, and then we want to carry that trend on. So hopefully this makes sense. You can see that this is our 4-hour with inside our 1-hour trend with inside our 4-hour trend. So maybe this is what could be happening to rebalance this whole market that we do have below here. So with that being said, let's take a look at what can possibly happen. Well, from a 4-hour perspective, like I said, we do expect the market to potentially retrace into this area here, and then we want to see a shift in the market to then indicate that the market's going to carry on upwards. So that is my area for 4-hour that I'm looking at. But if I drop down to the 1-hour, you'll be able to see that in the 1-hour right now, we have this uptrend: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So right now we're inside of this 1-hour demand area. So what I would be waiting for is a shift in the market to then indicate that we're going to carry on upwards from here. So as you guys can see, this demand area is stuck. We come in, we tapped in, moved above. So could we see this carry on, or could we see this, potentially be the part where the market reverses into the lower part of the 4-hour demand area? If I quickly just go to the 15, let's have a look at what's going on. As you guys can see, 15-minute is still very bearish. So I would need to see, so if you look at this, you can see that we're creating lower lows and lower highs. I would need to see a shift, and then that will indicate to me that we will be looking at this happening. So let's see how this plans out. Of course, if you look, this is our last candle below here, which we could be coming into, but we have had a little bit of imbalance. So let's just see how the market plays out from this 1-hour demand area. But as I said, I will not be looking at, I personally won't be looking at any sells until we break below this low. Yeah, let's just see how that plays out anyway. So that is the 4 hour and the 1 hour for the US dollar. That leads me on to the major pairs such as Euro USD. So Euro USD, exact same, but obviously vice versa. So as we know, pardon me, as we know, we've been in and around this 4 hour supply area for quite some time. You know, we're taking a high, but just been keep punching up and punching up. So for me personally, of course, I've been waiting for a shift in the market, either upwards or either downwards. We've got a lot of imbalance below here. This is my daily higher low. This is my daily higher high. So eventually, as we know from a daily, we want to see the 4 hour, which you can see currently right now. We want to see a shift so that we know that we can sell this market down. And then we want to see if the market's going to give us another shift to carry this daily trend on upwards to create a new higher high. So that is my first main thoughts. You know, a lot of imbalance to fill. And if I drop down to the 4 hour, you'll be able to notice that we are getting that shift in momentum downwards. We are starting to move away from the markets. So if you look at this, let me just mark this out. That is, I'll give it a 4. Okay, so if you look at the markets currently right now, you'll be able to notice that obviously we had this 4 hour demand we met, which we talked about. We had this one that we met, and then finally this was our last demand and we broke through. So that was indicating to us that the market could now be shifting into the downwards trend. So first thought is I have this, this is my 4 hour lower high, this is my 4 hour lower low. That is my first main thought. So of course, let me just mark this out actually. So with that being said, 4 hour lower high, we have a lot of imbalance and we have a clean 4 hour supply. So that is my main 4 hour area is, can I see the market, you know, potentially come into this area, see a shift, and then look to sell this on downwards. That is my main thought of action. Now, of course, understand that as we know, the lower the time frames that we go, the more noise it is that we make. So yes, currently right now, we are in this 1 hour range. We've got this 1 hour lower high and this 1 hour lower low. And we are currently reacting out of this 15-minute, 1 hour supply, but you can also say 15-minute supply. So if you look at this currently, you can see that we are creating that upwards trend. We did have a 15-minute shift here, but that's not enough for me to just participate in the markets. Let me just zoom out a little bit. From this 15-minute supply, we did have this 15-minute shift here, which you can class, but that's not enough for me to just sell this market from this area. So what I would need in order for me to look for this to carry on downwards, I would need to see another confirmation, another break, and then I'll be looking at this area of trying to sell this downwards. So yeah, obviously right now we're in this 15-minute supply, but understand that if we look from a higher time frame, you look from a higher time frame, we do need to come and fill up this imbalance. So this could be where the early inducement is, and we could just see the market come up to in this area here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens today. Of course, I'm not counting this area out. We have had a nice bit of volume, lower volume in this area, which you can see this out 4 hour candle finish lower. So again, be interested to see if we can get that extra confirmation on Euro USD. Now, going on to GBP USD, you can clearly see that as of right now, let's just go to the daily. I don't like this zone, by the way, but it is a valid 1 hour supply. I'll cover that in 1 second. Exactly the same as Euro USD, pretty much. We've had this daily supply in this 4 hour supply area. Now, as you can see, if I just get rid of this, we've been obviously in and around this area for a long, long time. So looking at the markets from this point of view, you can see that we are obviously waiting for confirmation. We have this imbalance below, we have this daily higher low and this daily demand area just below here. So same scenario with Euro USD. I would like to see the market, you know, eventually retrace into this and then see if we can get that shift to carry on upwards from here and create that new daily higher high. So with that being said, let's drop down to the 4. So we drop down to the 4, you can see, and this is where it can get a little bit tricky because this is my 4 hour higher low. Let me just mark this out. This is my 4 hour higher low, and that was my 4 hour higher high. Now, as you guys can see, yes, the market dipped below. We didn't have a candle finish, and we had an unmitigated 4-hour demand area, which you can see right now is where the market's reacting from. This is a valid 1-hour supply. It's not something I'm interested in. In order for me to sell, it would need to be this 4-hour supply area here. So first thought is, well, first thought is, of course, doing everything that the dollar does. Whatever the dollar does is what we do. So if we look at it from this standpoint, this is a valid area. We've taken out these lows that we've all created, and we've also filled in this imbalance, and now we're moving away. So with that being said, amazing, obviously, to be able to see that. But that doesn't mean that, we're going to carry this on bullish. Yes, we, of course, can. But if you look at it from this perspective, the dollar, if we're expecting the dollar to carry on upwards, so if we expect the dollar to carry on downward, should I say, then of course we'll look from that standpoint and go, yeah, well, GBP/USD can carry on upwards. So that is my main, trail of thought. So look at the 1 hour. What can we see? Well, we look at the 1 hour, you can see that if you look, we've got all of these as, well, let me just mark this out. We've got these areas that we can go off. We've got this 1 hour break here. We then come back up, failed to go and create a new lower low, and then we've had this movement. So we've got this 1 hour change of trend from here. Now, if you guys look from, I prefer a higher time frame, you can see that the market obviously come in a little bit low, but didn't tap into this day demand candle. So I would personally like to see a retracement of into this area personally. Into this area, that'll be my 4-hour demand to carry on upwards. If you look from a 1 hour standpoint, you can see that the market is just very bullish right now. So if we're going to get this retracement to carry on bullish, it would be from this area here. And then my next thought with GBP/USD would be, because if we look at how much we need to come down here, of course, we expect if the dollar, if we look at the dollar and we expect the dollar to carry on bullish, where can we react? Where can we see us reacting from? Obviously, I prefer this area. So if we get bearishness on a dollar, we're going to get bullishness on GBP/USD. And then eventually we can potentially see a reaction from this 4-hour supply. If it makes sense on the dollar, then of course that would mean that we would be looking at this area for a change of trend to then see if we can catch that downwards movement to fill in the rest of all of this imbalance. So again, interesting setups is very, very clean, a lot of them, but also still a little bit more complicated because we've not had the full breakout to give us the true confirmation. Going over to AUD/USD, you'll be able to notice that if we just quickly go to the daily time frame, you'll be able to notice that, of course, the market, we have this daily range right here. Now, if we look, sorry, I didn't mean to go on a day, but if we look at the 4-hour, you'll be able to notice that this is my 4-hour range. Now, you'll be able to notice that, of course, we dipped below this, but we didn't have a candle finish. The reason we dipped below is because we had a little bit of imbalance and we had these wicks that the market is coming obviously grabbed. Now, from here, let's get rid of this. You'll be able to notice that now we're getting our bullishness away. So if I look at the 1 hour, in fact, let's just quickly go to the 4 again. Pardon me. You just quickly go to the 4. I'm going to focus more on this last downwards candle. So that will be my next supply area that I'll be looking to obviously have a reaction from. Now, if we look at the 1 hour, you'll be able to see that the 1 hour is obviously now having that bullishness come up. So again, same scenario with GBP/USD. We've had the 1 hour break and we've failed to go and create a new lower low, and now the market's moving on up. So could we see the bullishness from AUD/USD carry on upwards from here? It'd be very, very interesting. I would need to wait for a double confirmation just to be certain. And what I mean by that is, if you look at this, obviously the market's failed to create a new lower low. I would wait to see another break. Then I'd be looking at participating in the buys and then wanting to see how we're going to react from this area, again, depending on what the dollar is doing. So interesting for AUD/USD, and I'm pretty sure that NZUSD will be pretty similar-ish. So with AUD/USD, you'll be able to notice that I wanted, should I say, the market to come into this low here. Pretty much where this imbalance started here. That's where I wanted the market to come into. Now the market's not came into that. We do have some imbalance below. But obviously, if we look from a 1 hour standpoint, the market's reacted from this 1 hour this 1 hour candle here. Not that I would just look to buy from there. I would prefer the 4 hour as it's a much stronger zone. So daily time frame, you can see we've got daily higher low, daily higher high, and then we've got our 4 hour range. So if you look at the 4 hour, you can see that we had this trend going on as we speak. So I'm expecting to see this potentially. But of course, if you look at the 1 hour, as of right now, this is not valid for me. It is a valid supply because it is a 1 hour area, but for me, this will be used as liquidity. We've got imbalance and a fresh supply above. So I would prefer to see the market, of course, dip above that. So I prefer the market to, dip above and then see if we can get a shift from here downwards. That's what I would prefer personally. But yeah, of course, also playing to intact that this is a 4 hour supply, but we do have imbalance above. So I've been looking at trying to buy and sell this market if possible. Obviously, the only crap thing for me about this is we didn't tap into this demand area, so it's not exactly my confirmations that I would want to, personally wait for. But if we quickly go to the 1 hour, you can see that this is taking out this high. So all confirmations are met. We've taken out the high, which is liquidity taken, and we've had this break of structure. So it is a valid area for me to be looking for the market to react from 100%. Okay, so that is NZUSD. Now let's go to USD CAD, which hasn't really been moving as nice. It has, but it hasn't. Like the way that it's moving in this area is very, very weird. But obviously it's something that we've got to deal with right now. So if you look at it from a daily standpoint, you can see that it's still been very ugly. It's been very, very ugly from here. We've got this daily lower low. Let's give this and this daily higher high. So as you guys can notice, we're obviously reacted in this daily demand, and then we haven't really broken a new higher high just yet. I look at this candle here, this daily candle, and I don't know, it tells me a little bit like this daily candle, the volume from this supply area slowed down a lot. So could that be initiating that we're obviously going to see that downwards movement for us? If we look at the 4 hour, you can see that we failed to tap into my 4 hour supply that I would have liked, but we pretty much filled in all the whole of this imbalance, and we had a great reaction from here right now. Now, if you look at I think it's the 1 hour, you'll be able to notice that the market has come into this 1 hour supply area, and now we're getting that movement away. You can see the market is now shifted from uptrend, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, slowed down, lower high, lower low, change of trend, lower high, lower low. So for me right now, we're obviously reacting out of these 15-minute supply areas. So we're interested to see if we can look for the the USD CAD to be carry on downwards. That would be obviously what is looking more likely from looking at this. 100% looking more likely. But yeah, it's not as clean as I'd like, so I'm not going to cover too much about USD CAD today. And then obviously USD CHF is a little bit more cleaner. If you look at the daily time frame, you'll be able to see that first off, this is the daily supply candle, which we did react out of. So yes, I prefer this 4 hour supply. We didn't get that, but it is what it is. We still reacted out of this daily supply candle here, and we had this movement away. So looking at the daily, yes, this is our daily lower high, this is our daily lower low. But following the 4 hour structure, you'll be able to notice that obviously this is what I was talking about. This is the supply I wanted. But as of right now, we're reacting from this 4 hour supply. Because if you look at the 4 hour trend, if you look at the 1 hour trend with inside the 4, you can see that we're having that, 1 hour uptrend, and then we had this break, and this breakdown, and then we've had this break up, and then we've had this breakdown again. So if we can get a candle finish below this, I'd be looking at participating, probably shorting this down from a supply area here. So that'll be interesting to see. if we can finish below this. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like I said, the US dollar is going to come into this supply area. We've got quite a long way, for it to come down into. So obviously that would initiate the fact that why the USD CHF is going to sell off and why the USD CAD is going to sell off as well. So yeah, keep an eye out on these areas. You guys should have your own, of course, trading plan and understand when to enter trade, when not to enter trade. So keep an eye out on that for sure. USD Japanese yen. Let's have a look at what she's doing. So as you guys can see, we called it perfectly last week. Right now, if you look at where we're at, yes, we've got this 4-hour higher low and this 4-hour higher high. But I just want to show you guys this because if you just get rid of this noise, this is our daily lower high. This is our daily lower low. Now remember, if the daily is in a downwards trend, then understand that of course we're going to have a retracement. And then that's where we're going to make decisions to see if we can see a 4-hour change to carry this trend on downwards to create a new 4-hour trend. So with that being said, if you go to the Fibonacci, let's just check how much we have. Sorry, I'm doing that wrong. Let's check how much we have retraced in by. So from this high, we've retraced into the 786, 886, which is my preferred areas for Fibonacci. So we have come into the deeper part of the range. So if I just quickly go to the 4-hour. So we have obviously had this big momentum down. So now what's obviously alarming to me is how deep we've come. So could now supply be taking control from here? Could now this supply be taking control from here? This is my 4-hour supply, and this is what I'm going to focus on. If I drop down to the 1-hour, you can see that, yes, we're in this 1-hour range from this higher low to this higher high. I would personally be looking to sell this market because of the daily time frame and the lower time frames here. You can see the shift that's happening. I'll be looking to sell this market and then make a decision from this demand area. So again, I prefer to be in sells and buys than just one. So that is what I've been looking out for 100%. But yeah, that is your major pairs for today, guys. I know we've got a little bit of a different background. I couldn't be bothered going into my office upstairs, so I do apologize. But yeah, man, I hope everyone has an amazing Monday, an amazing rest of the week. If you haven't already, drop a subscribe, put the notifications on, everything in between. And if you need any questions answering, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. Other than that, guys, take care as always, and God bless.